I used to study Japanese every single day, for hours, not because I was incredibly disciplined, but because I thought I had to. If I missed even one day, I felt like I was falling behind, and for a while, I believed that was the only way to improve. But somewhere along the way, learning Japanese stopped feeling exciting. It even became a little bit toxic. This isn't a stop studying video. It's just my experience with learning Japanese, and maybe there is something in it that will help you. When I started, I didn't use any fancy apps. I didn't know about Anki-dex, pitch accent, or any Ajat method. I had a hiragana table and used a copy of a Genki book my friend gave me. And honestly, that limitation was exciting. Every time I opened that book, it felt like a true adventure. I wasn't thinking about daily streaks or immersion quotas. I was just curious. I had a life, friends, hobbies, and I had just squeezed in some Japanese studies whenever I found the time, without any clear goal or deadline. I just wanted to speak Japanese for the first time when I go to Japan. I still clearly remember the first sentence I built. Niwa ni neko ga imasu. It wasn't anything groundbreaking, but to me, it felt huge. For the first time, I had put together a complete sentence on my own in one of the hardest languages in the world. And from that day on, every chance I got, I would sneak in the words niwa or neko into conversation. A lot of people might relate to this, but think about it. When was the last time you genuinely felt excited to sit down at your desk and study Japanese? That moment when you knew you would stand up afterward with more skill than when you first sat down. And honestly, things shifted the moment I got deep into the online Japanese learning community. YouTube videos about Anki Ultimate Setup Guide, podcasts with people claiming that they reached the GLPTN1 in only 3 months, or White Guy Shocks Japanese speaking like a native videos. I started comparing myself, and suddenly my progress felt slow, like embarrassingly slow. I told myself I had to sound exactly like a native, or I had failed. And the algorithm wasn't making things any easier. Every time I opened YouTube, there it is, a flashy thumbnail promising me the ultimate secret to learning Japanese. On Instagram, some random influencer was insisting that I was doing everything wrong from the beginning, and on Reddit, I kept running into people bragging about thousands of hours logged in this month with habit trackers and hyper-detailed study method, downvoting every single person they didn't agree with. And you wanna know the worst thing about my deep dive into Japanese learning community? The more I forced myself, the less Japanese stuck. I could sit with flashcards for 2 hours and forget everything the next day. I was just good at that specific deck, not at using the actual vocab in it. I could watch anime with Japanese subtitle and somehow learn zero. Sure, I was spending hours learning, but I wasn't connecting. I found myself trying to memorize every single word or kanji I came across, even the most random useless ones, like the name of some obscure plant I would probably never talk about in my life. I wasn't laughing at the scene in an anime because I actually understood the joke. I wasn't reading a book just for the joy of reading. It always had to count as a good input material. I wasn't even speaking with Japanese in real life. It became robotic. And I would not be satisfied until I reached my goal of having a neo-native level. But here is something I wish I would have realized sooner. No matter how many flashcards you grind, the moment you land in Japan, you will still run into tons of Japanese you've never seen before.
Let me check my Anki real quick.
Words that just don't show up in your full custom Anki deck that you spent months building. And that's fine. Japanese people are usually patient and genuinely happy that you're trying, by the way. When someone says the classic Nihongo jozu after you said only a few words, don't get offended. They're not actually being sarcastic and mocking you for all the hours mining flashcards. So anyway, I tried the grind. 100-day streaks where I never missed and also never enjoyed, massive Anki decks with zero context, forcing immersion with content I didn't even like because someone random said, this is a good content for immersion. And when I inevitably missed a day, I felt guilty. Not because Japanese mattered less to me, but because I thought I was not as good as that random guy I don't even care about on Reddit. And the funny thing is, I never had this thought when learning English. As you might have noticed, I'm French and my accent is kinda strong. People can hear it in my English and there is no hiding it. And yet, no one has ever told me that it was a problem. I can fully understand 99.9% of all the content in English, read scientific studies, and even speak without having to think much at all. The accent doesn't stop me from using the language at a high level. and I never really even tried to get an American pronunciation. But in the Japanese learning world, it feels different. There is this obsession with reaching a native level, almost as if it's the ultimate goal. Some people even seem to want to become Japanese, which is not going to happen. I mean, your face gives it away, and honestly, I just don't get it. But let me be clear, I'm not telling you that you shouldn't have big goals with language learning or study hours a day, especially when it comes to learning Japanese, which is a super hard language. Of course, you still need discipline to show up regularly, but discipline works best when it's aimed at your own goal, not at keeping up with strangers on the internet. A lot of people online aren't showing the full picture anyway. Either they're the top 0.0000001% of learners, or they are leaving out how many years it really took them. The algorithm doesn't show you the average learner. So I did something scary. I stopped forcing daily study just for the sake of it. I also stopped doom scrolling through language learning communities, stopped binging videos about the best method to learn Japanese, and stopped seeking other people's acknowledgement for resources I wanted to use. I still studied most of the days, but no, it was because I wanted to and because I had a plan, my own plan with my own timeline. At first, I felt guilty, I was falling behind in some imaginary race, but then something interesting happened. Japanese became fun again. Instead of forcing a random 6000 Anki vocab deck, I would put the focus on learning useful things I actually encountered, making real connections in my brain. I learned words from songs I liked. I watched slice of life anime and picked up casual phrases. I read a manga I loved as a teenager, but this time in Japanese. I had short, awkward conversations with random Japanese people without trying to act super native. And here are a few things that changed everything for me. First, curated input I actually enjoy. One anime, one podcast, one flashcard deck. Not 10 at once, just enough that I can look forward to them. Second, no true zero rules. I don't force daily study, but I try not to skip 2 days in a row. It keeps some momentum. Third, focus on things I can actually use in daily life. And the big one, I allowed seasons. Some months are input heavy, some are output heavy, some are quiet because of work life is busy. And that's not failure, that's adulthood. So, if you burned out, try this reset. Stop scrolling through endless social media posts about the best way to learn Japanese. There is no magic method. The fastest progress you will ever make is from actually using the language, not from consuming tips about it. Pick one anime, one podcast, whatever you enjoy, and stick to them. Don't keep switching because someone online says this is better. Listen to things you enjoy, not what gets the most upvotes on Reddit. And stop worrying about getting other people's approval for the resources you choose. The more you cut the noise, the more mental space you have for what actually matters, interacting with Japanese language. I knew the joy was back the day I was in a small Tokyo cafe and overheard 2 people chatting at the next table. I wasn't trying to listen to them, but without even thinking, I followed their conversation all the way through. It was real, messy, everyday language, and I understood it without effort. That feeling is priceless. It rarely comes from comparing, it just comes with time. I was so obsessed with going my own way that I even ended up building my own app with a friend to make reading Japanese more fun. And it's called Shinobi Japanese. It's built around illustrated stories that use the kind of Japanese you will actually hear in real life, not the stiff robotic phrases you get in most textbook or Anki flashcards. The stories are designed as graded readers, so the difficulty increases naturally. That means you start understanding new grammar and vocabulary almost without realizing it. No forced memorization or endless reading. You can go at your own rhythm, stay consistent, and build the skills you need for the real-world conversations in Japan. It might help you, but honestly, whatever you use, make sure it fits your life. If you're feeling burned out, it doesn't mean you're lazy or not passionate. Maybe you just need to stop comparing yourself to the top 0.001% and start focusing on your own progress. Keep the discipline, accept that you will always have more to learn, even in Japan. It's not about tricking people thinking you're native or that you're like Japanese, it's about connecting with them. The sooner you stop chasing perfection, the sooner you will actually enjoy the journey. Thanks for watching the video and don't hesitate to leave a comment.